Hello everyone, the question for today is what is foreign key in SQL Server? So let's take a look at it. So firstly, we need to know what a primary key is. So in the last video, we know what a primary key does. It allows only unique and does not accept null values. And here we have a table, which is the person table with our SSN number as the primary key. First name, last name, and driver's license number. We have like sample rows in it. And now I would like to create an employee table with employee ID, first name, last name, and an SSN number. Now, before I enter data into the employee table, I want to make sure that the SSN number that I have here is correct. What do? I would refer to the person table, right? Which is having the primary key as the SSN number. So whenever a column refers to a primary key of another table, it becomes the foreign key. So what the foreign key does, it refers to the primary key of another table, and if it is existing and if it is correct, it would insert the data into the table. So what the foreign key does by doing is it checks for referential integrity, checks if it is existing in the corresponding table or not. If it does, yes, it allows the row to be inserted into that table. Now here let's take a look at an example here where we have the data, and whenever we have the foreign key on a particular table, and when it is referencing to a primary key on another table, the table which has the primary key on it is called as the parent table, and the table which has the foreign key is called as the child table. So let's take a look at what's happening here. So it's checking, the foreign key is checking if the value is in the parent table or not. If it is existing, so it gets inserted. And for Mary 2 with the SSN number 1 2 3 4 5 6 8, it exists, so it gets inserted. Now for Adam Smith, we are trying to insert a wrong SSN number, if you see. So it does not uh, since this SSN number does not exist in the parent table, it fails. Why? Because of referential integrity. So the referential integrity means that it's going to check uh, if the value is existing in the parent table or not. If it does not, it will not allow us to insert this particular row. So here's a note for us. And the foreign key is a column or combination of columns in a table whose values must match values of a column in some other table. The foreign key constraint enforces referential integrity, which essentially says that if a column A refers to a column value B, then column value B must exist. So here we can also have our own primary key on this particular table, and also add another foreign key to our employee table, and this foreign key can reference to another table. So you can have n number of foreign keys in your table. So here is the syntax, no, sorry, here is the quick recap of what we learned so far. The foreign key constraint is used to prevent actions that would destroy links between tables, and the foreign key is a field or collection of fields in a table that reference to the primary key in another table. And the table with the foreign key is called as the child table, and the table with the primary key is called as the reference or parent table. So here is the syntax for creating or adding a foreign key to a table, and to add the foreign key constraint to the existing table with the alter table statement. So let's go ahead and look at foreign key constraint in action. So I'm going to switch over to my SSMS, and I'm in my test DB and going to create the db.person table, and I'm going to insert 3 rows and execute it. Well and good. Now here, if you see, I'm going to create my employee table with the AMP ID, first name, last name, and SSN number, and with the constraint, name of the constraint, and the which column do I want it as a constraint. I want the SSN number of the DBO dot employee table as a constraint, a foreign key, and where is it referencing to? It is going to reference to DBO dot person and social security number. If you also note, I do not have the same table name, sorry, this is same column name. Here in the DBO person we are calling it as social security number, and in the employee table we are calling it as SSN number. So you can do that as well if you would like to. And now I'm going to insert this first row with let's first check the rows here. So we have social security number 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and it's 1 2 3 4 5 6 8, and 1 2 3 4 5 6 9. So if I'm going to run these two statements, it should execute. Why? Because the SSN numbers exist in the parent table. Let's execute that and see. Oh, I do not create the employee table, I guess. So I'm going to go right ahead, execute the employee table. Now insert our two rows. So two rows are inserted. Now if I'm going to enter this or try to insert this row with an invalid SSN number, if you see, we get an error. What does it say? It says the insert statement conflicted with the foreign key constraint FK employee. The conflict occurred in the database test DB, table DBO person, column, social security number. So this is how the foreign key constraint works. Now if I change this back to what is existing, like 6 9, and then insert, it works. So so this is how the foreign key works, and I hope you understood what is foreign key in SQL Server. Thank you, and thank you for listening.